a minute. Okay. So in last session, just a minute. So we discussed about how to work with a named stage, right? So now today we'll see how we are going to implement so different types of validations. Okay. What we have done till now, so whatever the file is available with us, we have loaded into the stage area, right? So once we have loaded into the stage area, just we have copied. So by using a copy command, just we copied the file from the stage to the table, right? In between, let's assume if you have any issues in a file, then how to handle that. So let's log in into Snowflake. Okay, so now it's logged in, and let's connect it to account admin. So because through account admin only we have created the database and then tables. Okay, so here, so we have loaded the files into the from the stage. So let's say, so we have a stage file. So here we have a file in the stage, right? It can be anything. So let's take so this particular name stage. If you observe, so we'll have a files here, right? These files, what we have done, we have loaded into this particular table. So once we loaded into the tables, okay. So when we are loading, if you have any issue in a file or if you have any error in a file, what will happen? It will throw error and it will not load the data into the table. Then, so what is the solution we have? So let's say generally what will happen? So it will throw, if you have any error, it will not load. It will not load. Okay. So what is another options we have? We have to identify the errors before loading the file to the table, right? We have to identify errors before loading the file to the table. That is the one option. Another option is, so we can only load valid data. Valid data. We can ignore the invalid data. So that is another option, right? We can load only valid data and then we can ignore invalid data. So once we load only the valid data, when we are ignoring invalid data, then what will happen? So after that, once the file is loaded here, again we need to know, so what all the data, so it is not loaded into the table. So how many records it's not loaded into the table. So we need to check. So those things we will see that now. So let's come to validation. So here if you observe, we have a one file, right? This particular file, if you observe this particular file, we have some error. So intentionally we have created this. So errors, if you observe this, so we have, this is a employee ID, this is employee ID, and so this one is a, so numbers. Generally employee ID will be in the form of numbers, right? If you observe here, we have a strings, we have a characters here, right? So I have given two things. When you try to load this particular data into a table, when you created a table, you will create employee ID as a numeric. When you try to load this particular file data into the table, what will happen? It will throw error, right? So it will throw error. Before loading this particular file into the table, we need to identify whether that particular stage, whatever the file is available in a stage, whether it is having error or not. If you want to do that, we have an option called validation mode. Validation mode. Validation mode. So we will give the option called validation mode return errors. Return errors. When you give the option called return errors, when you are implementing validation mode in a copy command, remember this, it will not load any data to the table when you are having validation mode option in your copy command. Even though if your file is proper file, if your file is not having any errors, just it will show you the errors. That's it. When you are implementing this in a copy command, it will not load any errors. See this, what is the statement here? Validation mode equal to return errors. That's it, right? We are telling exactly validation mode equal to return errors. It will not allow you to load the data even if your file is proper file or if your file is not having any errors. So just remember this. This is one of the certification question. When you are using validation mode, so can we able to load the data by using copy command? Not possible. Not possible. So now we will see that. So exactly. So first what we will do is, so we'll try to pick the file and then we will keep this file into the stage area. So this particular file. Then we will use a validation mode option. Now let's pick this and then we are going to create a table structure for this validation option. Come here and so here create a table mp underscore validate to so implement the validation option. Just we are given the name as a validate and then this is the table structure. Let's create it. Now the table structure, okay, successfully created. Now observe the employee id. Employee id what we have, it is a integer. Employee id is a integer. Now in the file if you observe we have a strings, right? Now next thing, so we have created a table structure, then we need to implement a put command, right? So this particular thing, so where we have to implement, we have to implement that in a CLI, snow SQL. Now put command. So this is the stage. So when the created a table, by default you will have a, so table stage will be there, right? At the rate percentage table stage. No need to create the table stage. By default it will be available. If you want to see that, the table stage details, or how you will see that list and then at the rate percentage table name. This is the table stage details. Now if you observe, table stage is available, right? Stage is available, but we don't have any file. Now by using this put command, we need to copy the file into this particular stage area. So where your file is available here in this location. Let me copy this location by using, so shift and then right click. We have a copy as a path and come here and then keep that file path here. Now this is the file here, the path where your file is available. This particular thing, so where we have to execute this, we have to execute this in CLI, right? Command line interface or snowsql. Now come to, let's connect it to that command prompt and snow SQL space minus a space and then account details. So what is the account details? So here, from here to here, right? From here to here is the account details. Let's minimize this and then just enter. Then it will connect to Snow SQL by using this account. So this is your account details till AWS. Okay, let it connect. After that, so what we have to do once it is connected, by using this put command, we are going to load this particular file into this particular stage. Once the file is loaded, then so what normally what we are going to do, we are going to implement a copy command, right? Now let's implement the copy command. When you are implementing copy command, copy into the table. This is the table name, the same table. And then from the stage, what is the stage area? This is the stage area, right? From the stage we are going to copy. This is the table, this is the stage, and then this is the file format. And then we have a skip header equal to 1. And generally we will do this, right? When you are using validation mode, see this validation mode equal to return errors. Validation mode return errors. Okay, let's comment this particular thing till here and then we will see what will happen if you don't use this validation mode. Now let's come here. We'll connect it to this snowflake. Sorry. Username is wrong. Given the wrong username. Let it connect one more time. Okay, fine, let it be. Here, so generally when you are using this, so here this is the table name, this is the stage name. So we will use this. When you use this, the file is having errors. When the file is having errors, then it will throw error. And when you are using validation mode, so we will observe, we can able to see the exactly what is the reason of the failure, what is the errors available in the file. Now let's come here. Okay, this is the username and then password. So it's connected. Now use role account admin. Sorry. Now use database as. Now we have to implement the put command. Now let's copy this put command and then execute it here. Now whatever the file we are having, the error file, right? So now this file is available in this stage area, right? So list at the rate percentage, so emp validate. This is the stage area. Okay. Now the file is available here. Now this file, so when you have available, when it is available, when you are trying to implement this copy command, observe this copy into the table from the stage. When you are using only this thing, just observe what is the error it is going to give. See this one, right? Snow is not recognized, a numeric value, right? This is the error it is telling, right? If you want to still, if you want to load, you can use a skip file. If you have multiple files, if you want to load, on error equal to skip file when you give, so it will skip only the specific file. If you have 3 to 4 files in a stage area, so when you use skip file, what will happen is it is going to skip the error file, remaining files it will load. So now you can give continue also, on error equal to continue also you can give. When you give on error equal to continue, then it will load the valid data. It will load valid data. It is telling that use any option of this. But okay, if you use validation mode equal to return errors, now observe this validation mode equal to return errors, what it is going to give the result. So here what you are using validation mode return errors. So we are telling to the snowflake by using this copy command, when you are trying to load this stage file to this particular table, so show me the errors in this particular file. So when compared to this file and then this table structure, now observe this errors. It is giving the information, right? Numeric value, snow is not recognized. Numeric value, flake is not recognized. And it is telling the file name and then line number. Observe this, right? And so here you can able to see the column name, right? So what is the column name? And then so rejected records. See this one, rejected records. These are the rejected as no, like this particular 4 and 5 are the rejected records because these are not valid records. These are the not valid records in the file. So that is the intention of this. So copy. So when you are using validation mode in a copy command. Now, when you are using validation mode, what we discussed, it will not load any data to the table when you are implementing validation mode. Now, EMP validate we have here. If you observe in this table, EMP validate, there is no records, right? Okay. For example, we will create test, another table test with
The
string.
question then is,
Okay. When I
employee
give it,
validate, at least there will be a to record, right?
sorry,
There should be a to record in employee validate, right?
employee validate.
Employee validate, yeah, it should
Mm,
have the to record, right? The
no, it
only
will not
server
have.
will not load, right?
It will not have two records. So here the command which we are using is validation mode equal to return errors. That's what we are discussing. So it will not load any data to the table, even though
Oh,
if it is valid records also. So we, because of this command, it will not load any data. It will show you only the error records. That's it, when you are using
okay,
that in a copy command. Okay, that is the so property of this validation mode command. Okay, so now, so this will answer your question now. So now what we are doing is we are creating another table. So with the string. So when you give the string, so then it has to accept, right? See this, we are creating another table. So with the string employee ID as a string, now if you observe validate underscore test, so we have a table and we are using, okay, validate underscore test. We'll load the same file into this particular stage. Then again, use the put command, come here and execute it. Now the same file, the same error file, we are keeping in this particular stage area, right? Now the stage area, the file is available. Now just use this test, validate underscore test. Now observe this. So now, so when you try to load, so because here we have given access string, right? It has to accept. So what is the previous errors it is telling? That is a numeric value. It will not allow you to load. Okay. Now, if you observe, this is a string value. It has to accept both the things, the numbers and then so character. Now, when you execute this, observe this same thing we are using. Again, we are using validation mode equal to return errors. Now, when you run this, observe. Do you have any error records? It is not showing anything. But what about the data load? If you observe, it will not have any records into your table. See this one, zero records, right? Because what is the reason behind that? Because of validation mode equal to return errors. In a copy command, if you have validation mode equal to return errors, just it will try to display the errors records only. That's it. It will try to display error records. If you won't have any error records, it will not give anything. See this one. So there is no error records. It is not giving anything. So if you comment this particular validation mode equal to return errors, and if you run only this one, then it will allow you to load. Now observe this. We have commented validation mode, and then we are running. See this one, now it's loaded, right? Now it's loaded. You can able to see the records in this particular thing. Now let's observe this, review data. Now you can able to see the records, right? We have the records now. So previously what happened, when you are using validation mode equal to return errors, the property of this command is what it will do, it will not load any records to the table, just it will show you only the error records. When you are implementing a copy command, it will compare the table structure and then file structure from the backend. When you are using return errors, it will show you the error list. That's it. It will not load any data when you are implementing validation mode, even though if you are not having any errors in a file. Okay, so that is a property of that. Okay, so just to understand, so before loading the so files into the table, if you want to see, so what are the any reason of the failure, if you want to see that, we will use a validation mode. Okay, suppose I have a file. Okay, suppose here, so we have another table, right? So this particular validate table, so we have this. Let me copy this one. Have another table, emp validate. We have another table, this one emp validate, and then we have another stage also. This stage also. So what we are having, we have error file here, and then this emp validate. So what is the structure of this emp validate? So we have, so numeric, emp id as a numeric, right, number. Now when you try to load, what it will give? It will give you the error, right? Okay. Now I don't want to so consider errors. Just I want to load so only valid records. I want to load only valid records. I want to ignore invalid records. I want to ignore invalid records when we are loading. Just to load only valid records when you are implementing. When you run this, definitely it will throw error because of the so invalid records in this particular file. So that what is the option for this? We have, what we can do is to do that handle on error equal to, observe this, on error equal to continue we can give, on error equal to continue. So when you are using this, so this one on error equal to continue we are giving. So what is the additional so command we are giving? To just to load only the valid records, we can give on error equal to continue. When you do this, only the valid records it will load. Invalid records, so it will drop. Now observe this one. See this. How many rows passed? 4. How many rows loaded? 2. Okay. It passed 4 records. It means 4 records it picked, and then 2 records it has loaded. 2 records it has loaded here. Now when you observe this particular thing, the data in the file, let me check. Just a minute. Okay. Refresh it and then come to the table. This one, right? Observe this 2 records we have, and then preview data. When you observe this, how many records we have now here? Only 2 records. Only valid records it has loaded, right? Invalid records it didn't loaded. Now, so when you are using on error equal to continue, suppose when you are loading that, okay, when you are loading by using, let's assume that the continuous load process, we will see. So how to implement the continuous process. Here what we are doing, we are executing each and every command manually, right? But when the file is available, every time you cannot go and then you cannot execute this, right? So for that, what we can do is we can create a pipe option, snow pipe option, that is a continuous ingestion function, like kind of automation. What we can able to do whenever the file is available in the place, we can create a snow pipe, automatically it will load in that particular situation. So let's assume that you have given on error equal to continue. When you are giving on error equal to continue, so don't worry about that snow pipe. So going forward we are going to discuss that specific topic. When you are coming to on error equal to continue, once it is loaded, we want to know what all the invalid records in this particular load. What all the records is not loaded in this particular. So on error equal to continue when you have implemented. Or so when you run this, so this particular command, so copy command. So we want to see what all the error records it has been skipped. Then what we can do is by using the query ID, by using query ID, you can able to pick that information. So what is query ID here? When you are executing each and every query, anything, select star from or select star from or, so when you are using a copy command or when you are so listing whatever it may be, every query, whatever you are running here, everything will have unique query ID. If you want to see that, open history and then you can able to see the query IDs. So for the what are the SQL statement you have run. See this one SQL statement you have run, everything will be available here. If you want to so see the more details of this particular the query IDs open history, you can come to the history tab. Here you can able to see all the information here. See this one query ID and then the query which you have run. If you observe this, when you are every time when you are giving a preview option, you can able to see this limit 100 because always it will restrict it to 100 records. This is the preview option. This select. So what we have done to see the data in the table, so just I have given right click and then preview, right? Here, this is a copy command. This is the copy command where we have implemented on error equal to continue, right? So this query ID, let's copy this query ID. This is the query ID, or we can call it as a job ID also. Query ID or job ID. Now this is a query ID. Based on this query ID, so when this query ID is running, so when you are executing this particular copy command, we can able to understand once it is loaded, after loaded the data to the table, if you want to check the error details, we can use this query ID and we can use this statement. It's very simple. The statement to identify rejected record. Again, here we are going to use validate option. We are going to use validate option. Now observe this. Select star from table, validate, and then this is the table name, right? Which we have loaded the data, emp validate. And then see this one, job ID or query ID. This is the query ID, right? Just copy this one and come to this, come here, and then what will happen? So when you executed this query ID on this particular table, give me the validation. So that is the meaning of this. When you executed this query ID on this particular table, emp validate, right? Emp validate. So this is the table. And then show me the validate option. Now when you observe this, select star from this particular table. Now you can able to see the same thing. See this one? You can able to see the again the error records. This is after loading. So if you want to see directly from the stage, so what you can do is, so before loading, you can use the validation mode equal to return errors. Or once it is loaded based on the query ID, if you want to check, then you can use this job ID or query ID, you can able to implement this. So when you are using the on error equal to, both are same. When you use validation mode equal to return errors, this also, it will display the error records. When you are giving this also, it will display the error records. You can able to see this. Now, for example, if you want to this particular records, if you want to save somewhere, you can create another table and then you can load these error records into the another table. So these are the different options we can able to perform. Now, another thing, okay, so this is the stage properties. Here, if you observe the stage area, describe stage, named stage. This is the stage what we are having, right? Here, if you observe one thing, enforce length, see this one, enforce length, and then truncate columns. These both commands, the properties, functionality will be the same. There is no difference. But why we have these two things, enforce length and truncate columns? In initial versions of the Snowflake, what they have done is they have came up with this enforce length option. Enforce length equal to true means it will not allow you to so truncate the columns length. It will not allow you to truncate the column lengths. It will enforce you to maintain the column length in the table structure. So let's say, for example, here, if you observe, we created a table structure and then if you given some length for number equal to 3. Let's assume that if you given here number and then if you given 3, always it will allow enforce you to maintain the same length when you are loading. Okay, it will not allow you to truncate. That is the meaning of this enforce length equal to true means it will enforce you to maintain the same length in the table structure. So this the initially they have released. Now so later, so in the so communities everyone is asking about, so truncate columns, truncate column option. So where is the truncate column option in the Snowflake? Then the later version they have introduced this one also, truncate columns, but both the functionalities will be the same. Truncate columns equal to false. See this one, by default truncate columns equal to false means don't truncate any columns. So that is the meaning of this, right? Truncate columns equal to false means, so when you have the structure like this, don't truncate any columns. So for example, if you have, when in a file, if you have 5 records, when you try to load this, it will not allow you to load because of the this property, truncate column property or enforce length property. If you want to truncate the column length, so let's say for example, when you are loading the huge so data, so maybe you will have so decimal numbers, some so after decimal numbers you will have some numbers, then we have to truncate. We don't want those numbers. Then we can use truncate column. Then now we can use truncate column. So based on so purely the requirement. So if it is required, then only we will use. Otherwise, so we'll rectify the error. Now let's see how we can able to so handle this. How to so practice this one. So here, when you are creating a table, now observe when we are creating table structure itself, we will create table structure emp e and observe this employee id where cat 3 I am giving employee id where cat 3. What will happen? It will allow length 3 for employee ID, only 3. But what is there in the file? If you observe this particular thing, the data for employee ID, the length is 4. Observe this. What is the length? Length is 4 here. But what is the length we are creating in the table? We are creating length as a 3. Okay. Now let's create the table structure. And so the table structure is available. The same file we require into this particular stage area. Then emp underscore t, right? Now let's copy this and then come here and then, sorry, copy one more time. Here we'll execute. Now the same file, so it will load it into this particular stage area. Now in this stage area, the same file is available. Now when you are implementing copy command, so we need to see so how it is going to react when you are implementing truncate option. When you are doing that, any one option you can use enforce length equal to true or enforce length equal to false. Copy this. When you observe, copy into this particular table from percentage emp underscore t. This is the stage area, right? This is the stage area. And on error equal to continue. If you have any error, so we can give the continue. But so what? So our requirement. So we need to check. So truncate columns are enforce length. Enforce length equal to so false or truncate column equal to true. Anything. So now without that, if I try to load, see this one. If you try to load in this particular stage area in the file, the length is 4. In this particular table, the length is 3 for the employee ID. What it will do when you execute this copy command, it will throw error. See this one, it will throw error. What it is telling, character length limit 3 exceeded by string 1001. So this is exactly telling the reason of the failure, right? To do that, to overcome that, what we can do, so we can use truncate columns equal to true. It means it will allow you to truncate the columns. It will allow you to truncate the columns. What is the default property for the truncate columns? Truncate columns equal to false, right? If you give it true, it will allow you to truncate the columns and then it will allow you to load. Now observe this. See this one. Now it's loaded, right? Now if you check the data, let me come here, p underscore te, and then check the data, preview the data here. See this one. It's truncated and then it has been loaded. It's truncated and it has been loaded. Okay. Now, when you use enforce length equal to false, so both are same. Both are same. So let me observe this. If you use both the commands, so there again it is not throwing any error because the same file it's already loaded. So that's why it is telling that 0 files processed, copy executed with 0 files processed. But so what is our requirement here? Okay, so let's see if I want to load the same file one more time. Okay, for example, okay, before that, let's see this. So in one command, I'm giving allow truncate columns. In another command, if I give don't allow truncate columns. If I give like this, then it will not execute. It will throw error. So just a minute. When it is loading, I will give force equal to true. Force equal to true. When you give force equal to true, what will happen is the same file. Generally, what happened here? Copy executed. It is not executing. Zero files executed because already the same file has been loaded. That's why it is not allowing to execute this. Now, if I give enforce length equal to false, now observe, and then truncate columns equal to true. When you observe this, it has true. Just a minute. So what is the default thing? Enforce length equal to true. Okay. Enforce length equal to true. True means false means so it will not enforce. Then it will allow the truncate. If I give one command, I am allowing to truncate. In another command, I am not allowing to truncate. When you observe this, it will give you the conflict. See this one? Conflict values for the copy option, right? Enforce length. So both the commands, it should stay the same thing. So if you give the false and then this one true, then both commands will do the same thing. And if you want to load the same file one more time to the same table, so when generally, just observe this, I will comment this. If I try to execute this, what will happen now? It will tell, so zero files processed and executed. Let's say if the same file I want to load one more time, so let's find kind of, so duplicate records will be there. So in any situation you want to load and then just I want to check the things, then what you can do is you can give this force equal to true option. Force equal to true option. Let's observe this. Force equal, sorry, force equal to. So when you give this force equal to true, what will happen is this particular force command, it will forcefully allow you to load the duplicate file one more time into the same table. Now observe this, it has loaded, right? It has loaded one more time. Okay. When you are doing this, another thing is, so force that. Another thing is we need to discuss about purge. So initially when we have loaded by using GUI option, we saw that, see this by default, it has implemented purge equal to true option. The intention behind this purge equal to true is once the file is loaded from the stage to the table, from this stage to this particular table, what it will do is purge. If you implement a purge command, it will remove the data from the stage area. It will remove the file from the stage area. Sorry, not the data. It will remove the file from the stage area because whatever the stage, so we are having here, whatever the file we are keeping in this stage areas, so it may so charge, right? For the storage, the Snowflake will charge for that. For the best practices, so what we have to do is once the file is loaded into the table, so if you don't require that, so then we can simply, so you can use a purge command. For example, we have these many like of so files, so these many tables we created, and then files we have loaded into the table. If you observe, for example, list at the rate percentage emp, see this, we have a file, right? Again, list at the rate percentage, so we will take another table which we have created, so emp underscore, so spr emp underscore t, whatever it may be, emp underscore sp. Now we have a stage area, right? Everywhere in this stage area we have a files, right? We have a files. Then what will happen if you keep the files? So it will, you can able to see that storage. See this in a account icon, you can click on the average storage used. You can able to see stage area. See this one, for the stage area, it is occupying the storage, right? To overcome this, what we can do is, so when we are implementing, so once we have loaded by using a copy command, once we loaded the file to the table here itself, we are going to use purge equal to true. Purge equal to true. When you use purge equal to true, what will happen? It will remove the file. So when it is copying to the table, copying to the table from this file, when it is copied to the table, then it is going to remove the file. Remember, when the file copied into the table, then only it will remove the file from the stage area. But for example, here the force equal to true. So if you don't give, then what will happen? It will skip the files, right? Zero files processed. It will not allow you to load the file to stage area. Then so we have to use a force command. We will see that. And so whatever the files so we have in the stage area, if you want to remove this, so what we have to do? So we have to manually remove. So remove. So at the rate percentage emp underscore string. You have to remove manually like this, right? Again, remove at the rate percentage wherever the files is available. We have to manually so remove that emp. Now observe this. It is going to remove the files from the stage area. It is removing the files from the stage area. Manually, we have to every time if you want to remove that, we have to do that. Instead of that, what we can do? What is the other option we are having? We can use purge equal to true. But remember, when this purge will work, when the file loaded from the stage to the table, then only purge will work. Otherwise, it will not work. Now, observe this simple thing here. We are using a purge equal to true, and we are not using force equal to true option. We have commented this. Now, observe this. What happened? Copy executed with zero files process. It means the file didn't copy it to the table, right? Now, if you check list rate percentage emp underscore te, observe this, still the file is available even though you have used a purge option here. You have used a purge option. Why? Because the file didn't copy it into the table here. See this, copy executed but with zero files processed. Zero files processed. It is telling that copy executed but zero files processed, right? So now here if you want to implement that, then what you have to do? Then we have to use force equal to true. When you give force equal to true, what will happen? The file again, the same file it will copy into the table. Now let's observe when we are doing this, we will try to implement a purge also. When you execute this, observe what is happening. See this one, it's loaded, right? It is showing that file has been loaded. Now let's come here and then check. If you want to go to the previous command, just give up arrow or down arrow, right? You can able to go to the previous commands. Now here, see this. Now what happened? The file has been removed. So how it is removed? By using purge option. When you are using the purge option, it is going to so remove it from the backend. So that is a so main so intention of the purge command. So when you are using, and so remember that once the file loaded to the table, then only it will remove. If the file not loaded to the table, it will not remove. Okay, so now so these are the different options. I will send these scripts to you, so please practice this, and the next class onwards we are jumping into the real topics of snowflake features and then snowflake functionalities, different table types, retention time, time travel. So we are going to discuss so all these things. We'll stop it here. Any questions in this specific class?
Yes, yes. The question is
Yeah,
like
Prabha.
truncate column, right? So it works on whole table, like have defined the
Mm,
length in
mm,
for
mm,
multiple columns. So it is going to check for all columns. So can we specify specific column for truncate and
mm. So we can specify when you are using truncate column, right? So based on the length, it is going to pick for the all the columns, not for
Right.
the specific column.
So there is no option for that. If you have to modify.
There is no option. There is no option for that.
Hello,
Yeah.
Dinesh.
Yes. Yes.
Actually, in validation mode,
Mm.
in second time you change the data type of first column. In
Correct.
validation mode, it shows nothing. I mean,
Correct.
there is no errors. In
Mm.
sometimes the source stream, I mean, assume there is a date column.
Mm. Correct.
In data type is varchar. So sometimes source stream will send in particular numeric value, or sometimes it's in December. I mean, 1st December, like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So in the time, if you use that validation mode, it doesn't. I mean, in varchar, any data we can load it, right?
Mm-hmm. Correct. Correct.
So
Mm.
yeah, if you are giving validation mode written errors, it doesn't
Mm.
give any error. So data also not loaded.
Mm. 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 Correct.
So in that case, if source stream in varchar particularly, they need to load
Mm-hmm.
for their requirement. I mean, we are getting so many
I
requests like that.
understand. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that time
Mm.
the data is not loaded. So
Got
how
you.
we
Got
can?
the requirement to certain. So in that case, what we can do is, so we will know the column data type, right? Specifically, we will mention the same data type there. So here, just for to show us the example, so I have created intentionally here. So I have given a string. So, but this is not the case, right? We should not give it as a string here. So we can give the only the numeric value, numeric or number. So in your case, if it is a data type, date and time, then we can give a date and time data type. Okay, then so it will not skip that errors. It will show you the error then.
No, not like that. In date and time, we will give varchar. I mean, in varchar, date and time also we can load it.
Yes.
So
Correct.
that time validation mode equal to we are giving written errors. So it is checking that each and everything. I mean, previously numeric, and in that numeric data in string value, it is in some data snowflake. So it doesn't load it. So same thing, we have some columns are normal numeric, and some columns are some December, some like that. So that time how it will work?
So only the thing is what it will compare is with the file structure and the table structure it will compare. If it finds any difference, then it will show you the errors.
So
If it doesn't find any
that will,
difference, it
I
will
think,
not
if
show you there. In your case, the point is it will not throw any errors.
but in all cases it will not work, right? If source
Yeah,
team
yeah.
is need to load some December or some numeric, we don't know the source data type. I mean source data which is coming from source side exactly. So I sometimes I want to load only this type. So
Okay.
in that
So,
case I'm asking.
I got you, Satya. In that case, what you have to do when you are defining the table structure, at least you need to know the from the source team what all the data types they are expecting, right? They will give you the exact data types clearly. So based on that only we can create a table structure. Otherwise, it is very
Yeah,
difficult.
that is I'm saying. In varchar, say they want to in varchar any data we can load it.
Correct.
Sometimes source team also don't know the data. I mean application team don't know the data how it will come from source. So in that case I'm asking.
In that case, generically we will allow everything then. So as you said, so they will give the worker and then it will allow everything. Then it will not throw any errors. That is the only one option we have.
Okay.
Dinesh, this is Sirisha.
Yeah, Sirisha, tell me.
Yeah, after identifying the error records,
Mm.
like in normally what what generally
What is the approach you are
yeah,
telling?
what is the
So,
approach that needs to be followed? Like, do they send the records back to the
yeah,
ingestion team, or how is that
that is
handled?
that is true, Sirisha. So whatever the error records we are getting, right, we will send this back to the source team. So who is sending the files to us or who is sending the data to us? Then they will rectify it and then they will send it back again.
Okay, and then they are loaded back to the table.
Back to the tables. Yeah.
Okay.
Dinesh, for a description command, we are checking for the only named stage,
Mm,
and
correct.
I mean, all the properties we are applying for table stage.
Mm.
So all the properties will work for table
All
stage,
the
right?
properties will work for, yes, it will work for everything.
Table and user stage
Yeah.
also.
Table,
All the
yeah,
properties.
there also we can able to use that.
Okay.
Hi Dinesh, this is Arvind.
Yeah, Arvind, tell
So
me.
you are trimming, truncating the records in the sense you are trimming the records from the right side, like you are using the R trim. So if I want to
Correct.
trim the records from the left side, so what I need to use
Mm.
the command?
So that so option we don't have. If you want to do that, then we have to use some substring functions.
Okay.
Dinesh, all SQL commands will support here.
Yeah, all SQL it will
Truncate,
support.
drop, everything.
It's completely SQL. Yeah.
Okay. But only copy and get only, not copy, get and put only. It's different from SQL.
Correct.
Okay.
Dinesh, do we can we like can we
Mm.
remove the duplicates records from the table by
We
using the
can,
duplicate command, by using the
yeah,
rank function?
we can remove. So by using the group by we can remove. So by using some other like so we can create another like a table. So only the distinct records. All these things is possible.
Yeah, but I'm able to see that duplicate records in my table. But when I
Mm.
try to remove the duplicate records from the table, it didn't allow me actually. That's the reason I'm asking. I have used that
Mm-hmm.
by using the row function. So I have
Okay.
tried to remove the records, but I didn't accept that one. So that's the reason I'm asking.
Try with the group by once.
Okay. So I tried with the partition by
Okay.
with the row number. I didn't allow me to delete the records.
It does it send any error message?
Um, Yeah, I think so. I didn't remember like that.
Okay, fine. No issue. Can you text me that? So I will so check that one. So what is the command
Uh,
exactly? Okay.
yeah, I'm not in front of system, so let me try
No.
to get today, and I will ask you tomorrow.
Okay, fine. Any other questions from anyone?
We are not getting the recording, Dinesh. I don't know. We keep saying that, but we never
Once
received the
really sorry. Okay, do one thing, Prabhakar. So who is your organizer?
who's my organizer.
Yeah.
I have to check my email.
Okay, could you please check and then so check with him. So from tomorrow onwards, so for the confirmed participants, so they will so provide another link, the new link to you. Okay, so you can so use the same link for the classes from tomorrow onwards. Okay. So I will give you the confirmation to the organizers also.
Mhm.
So I'll keep on telling to them every day. So after the class, immediately please send the recorded sessions and files. So whatever the files we are practicing here, but I'm not sure. So what is happening in the backend? I will check with them one more time, Prabhakar, with them. I'm sorry for that. Really sorry for that.
Mhm. Okay.
If they are not sending, let me know tomorrow. I will so collect all your email IDs and then I will send it to you from the day 1 onwards
Okay, sir.
for every session. Okay. Thank you. Thank you,
Mhm.
everyone. Bye.
Thank you, Dinesh.